hello. I hope everybody's doing well. I really hope everybody's doing well. I'm excited to be here. I'm honored to be chosen to speak. I love the things that you guys are doing at Creative Mornings. Buffalo is definitely creative. Um, we we are a collection of awesome individuals. I've been able to meet some amazing individuals, but I have a certain amount of time, so I'm going to get right into it. A lot of times we want to introduce ourselves, but I'm deciding to introduce myself in this way. I am a beautiful and intelligent brown skinned woman, a mother, a wife, a taxpayer, a business owner, master degree holder. I'm a procrastinator at times. I'm a mistake maker, but a learn from my failures type of woman. I am a let's not make excuses for my errors. I am a get out of the bed early and go to bed late type of person, an overcomer. I am a storyteller, and I tell stories with the hope to ignite a hope and to heal and to encourage and a hope to connect others and showcase the fact that we are more similar than different. Sharing stories have the ability to build community and it can encourage. And so that is my hope today. I hope that I encourage you guys. Today, I want to share my story, the story of pain, passion, and purpose. See, I was born to an intelligent, beautiful, with a dimple in her cheek, just like me. I was born to a beautiful brown skinned woman who was a lover of poetry, puzzles, who was a writer, whose brother was and still is a playwright, a woman, my biological mother, Laura Parker. I've learned that beauty and pain often dances together. And so there's this beauty of birth. I was born, that's beautiful. Um, but the reality of pain, because pain is the fact that my mother had voids in her life, and the voids that she chose to fill with substances that deteriorated her soul. And I imagine that what she was trying to do was suppress the pain, so she used drugs to do so. And so let's insert a statistic there, right? Like more than 8 million children live with at least one parent who's addicted to alcohol or drugs. And because of substance abuse, she neglected my brother, sister, and I, and led us to being placed into foster care. And so there we have again another statistic, right? Children of addicts are more likely to be placed with a non-parent or a caregiver or into foster care. So already the odds are stacked against me. I'm already a statistic straight out of being born, you know. We were diagnosed as being emotionally handicapped and unable to express ourselves due to the trauma that we were faced with. And I was deemed a failure to thrive, like a failure to thrive. Like there were people who said, hey, this kid's not going to be able to thrive because of this. That's interesting. And the story is going to be getting more interesting based off of that perception or that thought. Failure to thrive. I was 14 months old when I was placed in a foster care, and after a few years, our mother died, and she was only 24. She died from an overdose. She died trying to fill a void that we all may have, that feeling of hopelessness, right? See, I was only 3 years old. She was 24. My sister, brother, and I were considered what? Underdogs. Me, an underdog, as defined as a loser or predicted loser in a struggle or contest, also defined as a victim of injustice or persecution. Let's insert another statistic. Because as the number of traumatic events experienced during childhood, as that increases, the risk for other health problems increases as well, like depression, alcoholism, drug abuse, suicide attempts, all of these things. The underdog, this little brown child, these brown children passed off to a system. I grew up with emotional issues, and yes, yep, that statistic rings true. I had some issues that pushed me to the point where I too tried to take my own life because I felt like, what's the point? I grew up with these issues and these problems, insubordinate. I was rebellious. Oh, I was that kid that that teacher did not like, and I loved it because that filled this space within myself. I couldn't express what was going on. the underdog, little brown foster girl on the east side of Buffalo. The teacher notes, the suspension letters, expulsion. Can't get no more underdog than that, right? A predicted loser. It's interesting what many hands and one mind can do, though. Interesting what a community of like-minded individuals can do. This is where passion begins. In my teens, I was introduced to a program called Yo Buffalo, Youth Opportunity. And in this program, I was introduced to a slew of activities. I was introduced to SEPA Gallery, Squeaky Wheel, Buffalo Weed and Seed. I was able to take part into different activities at City Hall. We traveled and talked to different leaders and legislators and just a variety of things that I was able to do. This opened my mind. It made me think beyond. See, in my house, growing up in a foster home, later adopted by a beautiful brown-skinned woman. But growing up, looking across the street and seeing a drug house next door, right out my window was another drug house. And I would see fiends going through the alley trying to get their next fix. That was normal. But going through this program, I began to question the normalcy of this circumstance. Why is there a drug house in front of me? Why is there a drug house next door to me? Why are all the people who are getting and consuming drugs are dipped in chocolate like me? Disparity. Are they two underdogs? Questions I wanted answers to. Why? Because the thought to think beyond was given through community, through a program, a youth program, youth opportunity. Then I began to learn about photography, and I began to learn about film, and I began to learn how to take my words and put them together to express myself, to say something, to make statements. Art. I learned how to develop my mind. I learned how to perceive differently, change perspectives, to want to see change. And so I used this ability, this creative ability, to utilize my skills, my talents, all the things that I considered who I was, my faith, God, hope. I began to use those things within every aspect of my life to do what? To question reality. Why and what can I do? These extracurricular activities, these artistic formats and artistic places and platforms that I was being able to take part in me shaped and molded this underdog, this failure to thrive, passion, brewed within me. I wanted to exist, and I wanted to go far beyond what individuals thought that I would be. I wanted to paint my own portrait. This is my canvas. I paint colors. I am the ruler of what I am going to do. I exist. No, I am not. I am not an underdog. I am an achiever. And so I kept propelling myself into directions in which I can utilize this art. How can I shape and mold a photo to shape and mold stories? How can I connect people from the west side and the east side, the south side, the north side? How can I break down stereotypes? How can you see me for who I am beyond the color of my skin? I want you to see me. My artistic abilities, my creativity, the fact that I use creativity to shape and mold the next generation of young creatives. When I go into a classroom, and why am I even able to go into a classroom? Because I was given those gifts, those talents, those skills, those opportunities as a young person. The young person they said would be a failure to thrive, the young person who was considered an underdog, the young person who they said statistics may show, but your statistics were wrong. Maybe in some cases they were right, but I stand with 3 degrees. Why? Because someone gave me a tool, and that's creativity, that's art. Creativity helped shape my mind. It made me think beyond. I come from the east side of Buffalo. I come from a rough spot. I made mistakes. I've done things that weren't great, but I utilized my creative skills And I go into those classrooms and I teach young people to think beyond. Think beyond the circumstance that you're in. Think beyond the color of your skin and what you see everyone else doing. What are you going to do with yourself in the time that you have? We have birth and we have death, and that dash in between. What will your dash say? Who will you be? I choose. I choose to go beyond what they said. I choose to soar. Counselor, doctor, whoever you may be, who place statistics on me for whatever reason. Look at what creativity has done. Look at what a community has done. My mother, my adoptive mother, Latifa Fareed, she chose to take me, my sister, and my brother in her 50s. She said, I'm confident I can. I'm confident I can take these young people and whatever trauma and traumatic circumstances they come from, I can shape and mold them and I can give them purpose. And she did. She's still here, 87, and she stands proud of me, the underdog, the failure to thrive. No, I'm a storyteller. I'm a creative. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I am brown. I am Black. I am culture. I exist. I am not the underdog. And with my life and with my stories, with my skill and with my creativity, I will make statements. My question is, what will you do with your creativity? How will you get to purpose? Pain, passion, purpose. This is called purpose. I really appreciate this opportunity to share my heart, to share my story, to share it with you in the hopes that you may take whatever you are, share it, do something, no excuses, make mistakes, get up, keep it moving. What will you do with your dash? How will you make statements with your creativity? Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Aitina. Thank you. Let's get some jazz hands up for Aitina. So, Aitina will be back in about 5 minutes for some Q&A with y'all. I'm sure you have lots of things going on in your head right now. But what we're going to do is something that we learned from our friends in Creative Mornings Toronto, which y'all may remember from these last few virtual gatherings. For the next 4 minutes or so, we'll break out into, well, breakout rooms, and you'll have an opportunity to connect with some fellow creatives. Consider what Aitina leaves us with, right? What will you do with that dash, that gap in between? And also, if you need a break to refill your coffee, go get it. You don't have to check into this chat, but come back, be here. Aitina will be back in 5 minutes. So, John in the kitchen, you want to put us into breakout rooms? Welcome back. Welcome back. Folks are rolling in. Hello to y'all. All right, all right. I hope you enjoyed the moment to take a break or chat with some fellow creatives who it looks like from the chat itself may not even be from Western New York. How excellent. We're going to take the next couple minutes to do some question and answer with Aitina. So if you have a question, there are a couple options of how to do this. One is to put it right into the chat, and either myself or John will read it out to Aitina. And another option is, if you're able, at the bottom of your screen, you can see in the participants panel an option to raise your hand. So go ahead and raise your hand if you have a question, or just say in the chat, hey, I got a question, and we'll unmute you to ask that if you'd rather us not ask it on your behalf. So here we go. Any questions for Aitina or continued conversation? All right, so there's a couple questions coming into the chat, and I'm going to let John take it in the kitchen from here after this. But to get us off, to get us started, Aitina, the most recent question that I see coming in is from Anthony Billany. What do you do when you feel discouraged, Aitina?
I feel like discouragement comes a lot, even though I feel like I'm pretty confident in myself. I have to identify why. Why is there discouragement? And when I tackle that question and break that question down, and then come, get at the root of something. So I look at things like in Proverbs. So I read the Bible a lot, and in Proverbs, there's a lot of sayings, a lot of wise sayings, and there's a lot of wisdom in it. And so one of the things I believe in Proverbs, or probably throughout the Bible, um, it speaks about like chopping at the root of something. And so if you have a tree and you plant a tree and you see that the fruits are not what you want it to be, then you don't just cut off the fruit. You have to get at the root to see if there's an issue there. So if discouragement is coming up, I have to get at the root of the problem. So if I'm feeling kind of down about myself and who I am, well, why am I feeling this way? And how can I start to develop that space within myself? It just depends on what it is. So my response is to try to figure out why. If you're discouraged and you feel that way, don't try to come at it like, oh, I'm discouraged, okay, let me be happy, let me fill my life with happiness, because when that happiness dissolves, you're still discouraged, you're still sad. So you really have to take a time and a moment to be introspective and try to figure out, well, where is it coming from, why is it coming, and what can I do to develop that space and heal that space or heal that wound.
Fantastic. Thanks for that response, Aitina. I think that first question opened the floodgates, and that now they're flying in.
That's great. Keep them coming.
We got one live question, so we're gonna go to that one, and that'll be from our Creative Mornings friend Sam in Sulaco. So Sam, I'm gonna unmute you, and you can take it over.
dangerous unmuting me. But oh, first of all, that was a beautiful talk. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask the simple question and then shut up because I want to see where you'll take it. But how do we keep this conversation going? What do you suggest to keep this conversation going? And I'll let you take that as far as you see fit.
Yeah, so absolutely, because this is a question that comes up a lot. Like, okay, that sounds great, but now what? And which is great because you need to hear something, learn something, and then do something. And there needs to be action behind that process. So my encouragement is this: who are we as creatives, as an individual? Like, what is my responsibility within my space? Each of us have branches, I'm sure, right? Let's keep on this tree concept. Each of us have branches and things that we're connected to, organizations, people. Mine may be youth and other organizations and businesses and companies. Like, how do I utilize my skills, my gifts, my skills, my talents, my passions, and continue these conversations within my network, and then find ways like, okay, I'll use me as an example. I'm a teaching artist. One of the things that I do is go into classrooms. I'm doing a lot of Zoom things now, but it's nothing like being in the classroom. When I'm in that classroom, my mindset is, how do I transfer what I've learned to these other young people? So how do I teach them to think beyond? And so I'm a photographer. I go in and I'm teaching kids about how to take pictures. Like, how do you teach them to think of beyond by using a camera? Well, I tell them that the camera, which I have one right here, the camera is very similar to us. The lens is like our eyes. The body of the camera protects the inside, just like our body, our skin, how we're made up. It's a protective skin layer. The shutter release button is like the decision you're making. The viewfinder in the back where you're looking through, that's how you see things and how you perceive things. And then it's all about what you choose to put in your viewfinder, how you frame and compose the situations and the circumstances that you're in, how you perceive it, how you're looking at it. There's different perspectives. I can do a bird's eye view. I can do a worm's eye view. It's all about how you stand and where you are. And when you get that space and when you figure it out, like, this is what I want to focus on, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I'm zoned on, and I push that button, I've made my decision that that is the goal I'm going after. And then you showcase it. You exhibit that. You exhibit what it is that you've created, And I think that if you're a teacher, learn whatever you've learned as a human being. Like, how do you then take that into the classroom? How do you show that you can do? Children, my 3-year-old daughter is your training ground. This house is your training ground. I am your tutor, your coach. I'm trying to coach you through life, because when you get out there, that's it. You got to make choices and decisions. You got to make it happen. So how do we continue the conversation? How do we continue this work? You learn, you do, and you give back. You just do the thing you do. Do the thing you love. Be creative.
Aitina, that's a wonderful response. I'm truly impressed by your communication skills and your ability to just convey a point so clearly to such a large, diverse audience here. So, and all that is reiterating a lot of the comments that we're seeing as well. So, our next question is typed in here. It's from Cheyenne. Cheyenne is asking, what disciplines helped you stay the course, and what do you do daily to keep your creativity flowing?
Man, I feel like, first of all, can you repeat the first portion of the question?
Yeah, sure. What disciplines helped you to stay the course?
Because you kind of froze there. Oh no.
Did you get it there? What what disciplines help you stay the course?
I mean, who I am is rooted in my faith. I have a strong faith in God. I believe in Christ. and I read the Bible, and the Bible teaches me a lot of very, very like life lessons. And so I take that and I apply it to my life. Um, the one of the top commandments within my faith is to love your neighbors, love each other as yourself. And that's really what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to love other people. Now, love is not just like, oh, everything that you are, I love you and I love you and I embrace everything and this is all great. Like, love is strong, love is firm, love is fair, love stand perspective, love is balance, love is unconditional. So when I walk into a classroom, it's similar to when I step into my house. And I don't get, what keeps me focused is my faith. I know that I need to continue to love other people and to continue to do that with the things that I was given or the passions that I feel like I have, which is creativity, photography. When you see my work, you're going to see an expression of how do I connect people. All of the exhibits that I've ever done, the purpose behind them was to showcase perspective. When I did an exhibit called Tales from the Porch. I went around the four corners of my city and I captured individuals on their porches talking about their community, talking about their experiences. And the experiences on the west side, similar to the east. Similar, the stories on the east side, similar to the north, which is similar to the south, which tells me we are human. And how do I do that? By the fact that I love enough to go out and say, hey, I want to learn about you. I don't want to have stereotypes about you. I want to know you. I want to learn you. I want to build community and build relationships. And so I just find ways through my creativity to do that. There's limitless possibilities in that.
Thank you for that, Aitina. We have another one here from Paul. The question is, what is a creative endeavor you always wanted to do, but haven't yet had the chance to do?
I haven't written a book yet, and I really, really need to. But remember what I told you guys, I'm a procrastinator at times. So I'm trying to push past that barrier of just like sit down, get it on a piece of paper, write it out, write it down, and do it. Another thing that I really want to do is do a TED Talk. I want to do a TED Talk so bad. And, I don't know. I have to really sit down and go look and research how to do that. I have a lot on my plate. And sometimes all of the things on my plate, pushes me away from the dessert I'm trying to get to. Like I'm trying to get to these desserts. So, yeah. So writing a book and doing a TED Talk.
Yeah, you need to do a TED Talk. You'd crush that just like you crushed your Creative Mornings talk. So,
Thank you.
That would be wonderful. We have a few people that have typed in messages that are essentially asking where they can see and learn more about you and your work, and maybe where their kids can see and learn more about some of the work that you're doing. Can you do a little bit of self-promotion here and let us know what you got going on, even as things open up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I run a company called Get Focused Productions, and it's all about capturing, teaching, and giving back. I capture through photography and film, telling stories through those ways and those methods. I teach youth and adults, educators, how to shape and mold their stories and how to use technology in the classroom. And then I give back by every contract that I earn, a portion and a percentage of what I earn goes into this movement I started called Young and Focus, where I'm trying to give back to the next creative generation. And so I purchase items that they feel like they need. I interview them on and post it on social media so that other young people can see. And I just try to find ways to mentor them as best as I can. I don't always have the time for it, but that's what I do. So Get Focused Productions is GetFokusD, Get Focused Productions. .com. You can go to my website, or the best thing is to go on social media, follow me there. And I've been doing a lot of virtual classes. There will be a summer camp, you know, right now it's all the planning process, so nothing is set in stone, but I'm looking to do summer camp with SIPA Gallery, which I still work with SIPA Gallery. I mentioned that I learned about photography through SIPA Gallery, and now I sit on the board of SIPA Gallery, so that's amazing. So I'm hoping to do summer camp through them, and there's be a summer camp through another entity that's outside of Buffalo. I'm looking to do that, and a couple of different workshops with other organizations. Most of the stuff that I do is within organizations. I get contracted out. Then I do music, AI, the anomaly. I use my words to paint portraits. And so you can follow me at AI, the anomaly, and that's spelled ANOMALY. So, you know, just creating music, got a project out, and yeah, so, you know, you can follow me in those regards. Young, and as far as young people are concerned, like I would say, guide them towards me, and then I can put them in the direction that they can go. As of right now, like right now, I'm just working under entities. Oh yeah, young audiences is who I work with as well. I'm looking to do a summer apprenticeship with them for high school students.
Aitina, this was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You really did a phenomenal job here. I think you've
Thank you.
inspired the 100 plus that we've had here. So I'm going to hand it back to Kel, who I think will also say thanks, and then run some of the back end here. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks,